What's going on, everybody? My name is Detir. I'm here with the lovely Loanne, and welcome to the conversation. So, I want to talk to you about like your circle of friends.
Okay.
I know you heard before, like the people who you have around you would be like your greatest influence. So it says that be not deceived, for bad company corrupts good morals.
Right.
So my thing is that when I think about people who are around you, I think about the influence they would have not only on you but on your children, on your personal life, as far as where you go hang out at, which is important, as far as branding may go, as far as your business, your career. And when I hear be not deceived, for bad company corrupts good morals, I don't think about just morals. I think about everything that comes with your lifestyle. So how impactful do you think it is with the people who you have around you?
Oh man, I think it's very, very important. I think it's important for everyone to have at least one friend, especially if you're not in like a serious relationship or a relationship in general, right? Because when you're in a relationship, it is important for you to have a friendship, right? That should be like your framework, should be your foundation is a friendship. And when you're not in a relationship, it's at least important to have at least one friend, right? To talk about things that are bothering you, just to have like an outlet, right? For me, I love to have someone that can hear my ideas, because my mind is always going, and I'm like, oh, what if this and what if that? And sometimes I have so many different ideas, that it's hard for me to identify which one to go with first, and which ones to weed out. And from time to time, I'll do that myself, but it's so helpful when you have like a team of people who can help give you their feedback. For me, friends also help me with my balance in life, because I work a lot. I work a lot. Actually, I'm working on not working as much. So I have a full-time job, right?
Yeah.
And then I have my store. And normally, during the week, I go there afterwards. But I've been better about that and going only like 2 times a week. And so now, like when I do have that free time, I use it by spending time with my children, and then also stepping out, at least once a week with my friends. And that might just be dinner or happy hour or a vacation. In fact, tomorrow I'm going to Dallas. I'm so excited about that. It's a girls'
What?
weekend, and I need that for my balance, for my sanity, actually, because when you work hard, I think you should also play hard. So that is it's important. In addition, like your circle, man, should give you life. Right?
Right.
It should give you life. They should be pouring into your soul, just like you should be pouring into theirs.
Absolutely.
Inspiring each other, pushing each other to be better. Like I'm part of this women's group, which is filled with lots of my friends. Now I have a lot of different friend circles, but this particular circle, is one that I spend a lot of time with. And we do a lot of different things together. So we did a girls' weekend where we brought our daughters, and we all went. Not all of us, but there was probably maybe 28 of us that went to Glenwood Springs, and we just enjoyed each other's company, and we, talked about some of the things that we wanted to see in the future. I mean, it's just such a good time to be able to relax and get out of that day-to-day like rut.
So you have like multiple friend circles.
Yes.
So that means that your company you keep is based off of what you're trying to do for the week, or like, cause like, do you have like party girlfriends? You have hangout girlfriends? You have business, circles? Like, what do you mean by like you have different groups of circles?
I think along the way in life, I've accumulated friends, and so
Friends are just what?
Friends and acquaintances,
Okay.
So a mix of both, and a lot of them that I love dearly, and so they have poured into me and I've poured into them,
Hmm.
all through our lives or in pockets of our lives, and so I still hang out with people that I went to high school with.
Wow.
I am still friends with people I went to college with. In fact, I just started a business with a friend that I went to, that I was friends with in college.
Well,
Um,
let me pause you because, like, you have low end does a lot of things. So outside of working your corporate job, you have Milk It,
I do.
and you are into real estate. I was with you when you was renovating one of your rental properties.
Yes.
You own trucks.
One. I
One.
just started.
Okay, one
I just
truck.
started that. That was my newest one.
Yeah.
That business is my own business. However, I partner with the person that I've known since college,
Uh-huh.
and pretty much his company does all the work. So it's passive income for me, which is all of it. That's all I want. I want passive income. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't want anything that's gonna just suck my hours away, because time is time is so short. You know.
So I'm glad you said that because look, so I was told that if you want to know where you're going to be at in the next 2 to 5 years, you're going to be like the books you read and the people you hang around.
Yes.
Now, you the one told me about the compound effect.
Yes, I
You
love that
know,
book. I do.
so when I'm thinking about like you talking about a residual form of income, I was also told before that you want to have the freedom of time and money,
Right.
and you don't want to always have to exchange your time for a paycheck.
Yes.
So I see you be traveling a lot, and you love to basically enjoy life.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So it's just like um, I'm trying to figure out when it comes to you. It's just like you have a family. You have 2 children,
Yes.
and you have all these different avenues that you're actually balancing, plus trying to balance yourself as a woman. What is your drive? Like, how do you keep up with the day to day? Like, what has become your why at this junction in your life?
You know, enjoying the journey of life is actually my why. So even though I have these end goals,
Mm-hmm.
to, pay for my kids to go to college, and make sure that they have a home straight out of, high school, I'm my real drive is to really enjoy the journey all along the way. And in order to do that, I have to be financially in a good place,
Mm-hmm.
and comfortable. I have to be mentally in a good place, and I have to be surrounded with positivity. And I think that's really, really important. And that kind of goes back to friends.
Mm-hmm.
I have such a good group of friends, that not good, great, amazing. They're
Mm-hmm.
great and amazing. Like, so much so that, like, when I wake up in the morning, I will oftentimes wake up to a motivational video or an inspiring message, and it's such a beautiful thing to be able to have in your life, when you have those kind of people in your life,
Yeah.
and I love to start my day with, you know, those positive videos and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So when I don't get one from a friend, which I mean a lot of times I do, I'll tap into YouTube, and that's like my favorite resource in life. YouTube can teach you everything that you need to know in life.
Yeah.
I have fixed so many things, figured out so many problems by YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So how do you keep this up? So I know your why is you just enjoying the process,
yeah,
but like every day when you get up, because a lot of times we want to be so much more successful. We
yeah,
see so much more in us,
yeah.
and but like how do you kind of uh, compartmentalize all these things when it comes to everything that you have to do? Like,
Mhm.
do you have a system? You have a routine? You have a checklist? Like, are you just like what is it? Because sometimes we get stuck on
Yeah.
autopilot sometimes, and we
Right.
just going. But like,
Right.
how like because like when I see you, you seem so lively all the time and so
Yeah.
at peace. So how? Because I know times get rough and
Mhm.
things happen and obstacles come and trials and tribulations come up against you. So like, how are you learning how? Because you say balance is so important to you, but
Yes.
how are you figuring this out? Like, because I know you're a reader and you talking about you listen to motivational, things, but sometimes people can do that, and sometimes that only lasts for a moment,
Right.
in
That's true.
time. So like, I'm just trying to figure out deeper inside of the life of low end. Like, how do you be enough for yourself, enough for these businesses, and enough for your children?
Right. Um, I try to give my all into all of these things. And in order to balance, I mean, part of it is routine, because I'm so used to certain things. But I try not to live in a routine, right? And be able to be ready for anything that comes my way. And that's, I think I try to preach that to like my children and to my friends. Like, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, baby.
Yeah.
So that is like my, that's what I tell everybody,
Yeah.
and so I don't like to just be stuck in a routine. But Monday through Friday, I do have a 9 to 5 type of job, and after that, I do know exactly what time, what days I plan on going to the store, and I try to tap in at least twice a week these days, is the plan, is my plan, because I don't want to lose touch of like what's happening there or what's going on with the people that work there, and then with the other businesses, they're so passive at this point that it's like, it's just, I get a quick update, and I'm all the way good. But then you have all these other things, right? My children. So I tried to kind of free my days up to spend more time with my children, or at least be home, so that way they can come see me or I can see them. And we like to watch movies now. And I love that the movie theaters are open. So
Yeah.
that was like a thing that we used to do before the shutdown, and now we get to do that again. But I like to do activities with them as much as I can, because I do have that like guilty working mom syndrome. So I'm like, oh, let's go to the mall, let's go shopping, let's go here, let's go there, like whenever I am free and in town. But I am a full-time mom, like full time. Like my kids live with me every day, and I love it. There was a time where, I'm like, should be a halftime thing, but I actually love and appreciate that I have my kids all the time. And because there are so many people that have to fight for their children.
Right.
And it's so sad to see. So,
Right.
and I hate to see when people keep their children away from the other person who wants to see their. So I'm glad I don't have that kind of problem.
Right.
So I appreciate and am so grateful that I'm able to care for them, and fully take care of them.
Yeah.
And supply all of their needs and what they deserve, because sometimes they need things and they want things, but sometimes these kids are bad.
They bad. Your kids is not bad.
Oh. No, they're good. However, do you know that on Friday I checked my child's closet, and there was hidden dishes in every little corner, underneath sweaters and pants and things like
So
that.
you a mom. You talking about that?
That was a hard moment for me. But things like that, teach you things, right? I'm not, when I go in there to check if your room's clean, I'm like, oh, okay, all right, you can go to your friend's house,
Yeah. But when you thoroughly check, you like, oh boy.
Yes, I need to thoroughly check, and so and that's kind of what you learn, and I've gone through this before, and so this is my second time rediscovering this type of behavior. So, it's just, you're gonna have to adjust, and I need to adjust, and become a little bit more like observant
Yeah.
of the things that are going on in my children's lives, and in my home.
Yeah, that stuff can happen, because I know, like, growing up, when mom wanted us to clean up and we want to go somewhere, you trying to rush.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So
exactly
you throwing stuff in
happened.
the closet, under the bed, you trying to hide stuff under the mattress.
Yes.
Like, these things happen. But so let me go back, because
Okay.
when it comes to everything you say, and you talk about balance, tell me how important it is for you guys in your home when it comes to your inner peace. You know what I mean? Because I know your daughter is cheerleading and gymnastics.
No, cheerleading. She did gymnastics, and then she's doing cheerleading. Well, okay, so on Sunday, I allowed her to quit. Now, she's been doing gymnastics for cheer for 7 years, I think, and I let her quit on Sunday, and that was hard to do, because, but the thing is she got to a point where she didn't enjoy it anymore. And in fact, every time it was time to go to cheer, she's like, no, I don't want to go, I don't do it, and then she would come out of cheer and then just complain like, oh my gosh, this happened, this person did that, so it wasn't fun anymore for her, and I tried to force her through it week after week after week. And then it's like, okay, well, I'm paying for it, and cheer is not cheap. Like, it's not. So I told her that if she quit, she would have to replace it with something else. So right now we're in the process. It's only been 4 days, and so we've been looking into like other things that she might like, because I just don't think I know that I don't want her just sitting there, and coming home from school and that's it. When I was a child, and I think, not to change the subject, but when I was a child, my parents had me in everything, and I think that's what helped me be able to balance my all these different things at once. Like after school, I would have piano, and then ballet, and then tap, jazz, gymnastics, hula dancing, and then this and that. It was just from one thing to the next. I don't know how they kept track of their
Yeah,
schedules,
that's a
my
lot.
schedule, and then plus they had their own activities because they bowled and they were socialites, and so I think that helped me.
So like when it comes to your daughter, um, so that's a good thing because I've been taught from like other parents and stuff like that. And my uncle is one of the people who said that he never forced his child to doing something. So I think it's great
Yeah,
that you allowed her to stop doing that because you don't want them to do something that is forced, for them to do something that
right.
doesn't really make them happy.
Yeah,
So, but like in your process, because you saying that what your parents did with you, but like what process do you think is important now? Now if you just sit back and think about it, like for her to choose,
right,
not to something to keep her busy, but something to where like she really is into something, like
right.
because she like for me doing this talk show right here, like it took me a while to figure out what I actually wanted to do. So it's good that she's young, but what does that process may look like? You know what I mean? So you can find out like, is this what she really wants to do,
Hmm.
or is she just picking something different that you're going to be paying for, and then in a year or so she might not even want to do it no more.
Right. And I'm fine with her trying something for a month and then saying, okay, this isn't it, and then trying something else.
Hmm.
Because, I think, the more that you try, then the more opportunity you're bringing into your life. And you just get to experience things, and find something new to fall in love with, or something new to discover that you're good at.
Yeah.
You'll never know if you're good at something if you never try.
Right.
And if you'll never know that, you'll never know if you love something if you are never exposed or experience it. So I'm fine with, investing in a lot of different things.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I just don't want her to have like commitment issues or anything like that. Now, the reason why I forced her for like the past couple of weeks to continue was because I wanted to make sure it wasn't just like a little phase. Like, all right, I don't feel like doing anything for a while, so I don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
So I didn't want her to lose that momentum, by quitting.
Right.
Because I saw that, with my son with football, because um, we had let him quit for like a year,
Uh-huh.
and it's just I felt like it somewhat killed the momentum, and the excitement. And so he got back into it, and then it just kind of had the momentum had to start all over again,
Yeah.
which I'm glad it did, because he's in football again, and I love football. I love being on the side, like yay,
Yeah.
and cheering and going. Yeah, oh man, I miss those days.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fun.
Yeah.
So my next thing I want to transition to with you is because I was just trying to touch on it just a little bit, but it's like I feel like that your mental health, right, when it comes to this balance is very important. I know you're into yoga,
Yeah.
so when we talk about balance, you talk about work, you talk about who you are as a person when it comes to your children, and then also trying to teach your children at a young age how to find this inner peace and inner balance.
Yeah.
So, what do you think that you use or utilize, and do you utilize this with your children when it comes to helping them kind of quiet everything? Because we have so much influence of
Yeah.
social media. A lot of kids in these days are really into gaming,
Right.
virtual reality, what I mean, putting them things on their eyes.
Yeah.
And these things can be fun, but then they over consume their day
Right.
with all these games and stuff like that, and the lack of being able to be social and stuff like that. So,
Right.
how do you try to monitor to block out everything? First, for your kids, for yourself, how do you do that? Do you get off of social media for a while and unplug, or what is it? Or do you just come home and meditate and do yoga, or what is it that gives you that release from the tension of everything we have to do in the world?
Me personally, I do love yoga.
Mm-hmm.
It is really important to me, and it's easy to do, right? You don't have to go to the gym. You don't have to schedule an appointment. You can just come home, and do it. I can do it in my room. In fact, um, I have my yoga mat rolled out in front of my mirror, right by my bed, and then I have one in my closet. Um, there's something about being inside my closet that is very it's like a big hug, you know.
Yeah.
It's like a hug. It's very like I don't know. It's hard to explain that feeling, but it almost like people in their prayer closets.
That's
It's
what I
like
was thinking about when you first said it was like a
yeah,
prayer closet.
yeah. I'll roll that baby out and just do my yoga in there. I mean, there's a lot of space in there, so I am able to move around and things like that. But I love that being surrounded by just stuff,
Hmm.
and not just openness. So it gives it a different feel.
Yeah.
It's like kind of yoga with different types of music. It's
Hmm.
just a different experience. In fact, so I have next Saturday at 10 a.m. I will be taking my daughter to goat yoga.
Oh no.
Yes, it's gonna be really fun. I'm so
What?
excited. Yes.
How'd she feel about that?
She's like, okay, I'll do it. And I'm like, yes, because I want to do more things with my daughter. She isn't always into the same things that I'm into, but I've noticed that
So
she's open
like
to
I've
try.
seen this before, and these goats are jumping
I
on
know. I'm
you,
excited. I'm
and
excited.
they're not trained goats to where
I know.
they still defecate
I know.
inside of the place. So
I know this, but you know what? It's about the journey. It's about the
you said
experience.
that.
I do. It's a story to tell. Like I
Yeah.
love being able to do things that are different from the day to day.
Yeah.
I could take her to see a movie, yes, but we
Hmm.
see movies all the time.
Yeah.
But goat yoga, that just sounds exciting.
Okay.
I love trying different things like that, and being able to do that with my child, I think
Yeah.
would be really exciting.
So when it comes to now for yours, it seemed like ultimately your peace and your inner peace and your mental, peace coming from just quieting your mind, going into either your room or your
Yes.
closet
Yes.
and doing yoga
Yes. That and travel.
and traveling.
Travel is okay. There's three things, four things. So yoga, God, prayer is very important to me.
Man, so powerful.
Like I go to church faithfully every Sunday, baby.
Yeah.
Every Sunday, unless I'm out of town, and sometimes even out of town, I know where to go, to
worship,
praise the Lord.
fellowship.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. So that's important to me, and then I love the spa days.
Yeah.
Spa days are really important to me because it's kind of like yoga in a way, but it's like very relaxing. It just kind of relaxes my whole entire self, mind and body. There's a place that I like to go to out here, and certain places in different cities where you can experience, you can go into the jacuzzi and just kind of relax for a little bit, then the sauna, and then the steam room, and then get a massage, and it just kind of helps to just relax.
Yeah.
And sometimes like I've got so much going on that like my body just kind of tenses up. Like,
see, because it sounds like you have a lot that you can do, but this goes back to why you probably got all these jobs and these businesses, because pampering
to support my
yeah.
extracurricular.
But I think it's good though, because like I always say to people that money does not equate to happiness.
That's true.
But money gives you options.
It does.
So for you to be able to work hard for your money, you want to be able to utilize it the way you want to for times like this. And for your lifestyle, you're saying that being able to afford, the luxury of being able to pamper yourself or go travel somewhere to get away from what's going on here and work, it's like a reset button for you.
Right. It
you know
is.
what I mean? It's good for you to be able to reset. So, because I just be thinking about people's lives who be so busy, like, what is your release? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like your release has just been able to either do yoga. So it's when you are still in this mode, mama mode, work mode, business mode, you still find a way to release this, at night. Because I feel like that every day, I could be wrong, it's just my perspective, you should find a way at the end of your day to release your day. Yes. Like, don't take this day until tomorrow. Like, find a way to let it go somehow, because tomorrow's going to worry about itself. If you here or not, tomorrow's coming. Right. You know what I mean? And yesterday was yesterday. And right now, this moment right here, this is it. But once it's over, it's over. So that's why I think it's good that you can cherish people, cherish your friends, cherish people around you. So I always bring up people's kids when they have children, because I think it's so vital for us to be able to show and be able to communicate and properly articulate to our children the things that they're going to go through, even though when they're at certain ages they can't hold the capacity of certain conversations and really thoroughly understand. But we talked about yours, but do you articulate to your children on how they should try to deal with finding their inner peace, have conversations, see where they at mentally, and how they can calm whatever's going on like in their world, especially with this year 2020 with all the COVID and staying home and not being
Right.
social with kids and having to do everything online.
Right. I do have conversations with my kids. I feel like I could do definitely a better job at having more conversations.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more of a, if something comes about, or like my child is yelling at the video game,
Mm-hmm.
I find that opportunity to have those types of conversation. you
Like
know,
it ain't that serious
yeah,
type of conversation.
exactly, exactly. But for my son, for example, part of the problem is that he's not. He's got a lot of free time, right? Even with football, because of COVID, they had canceled a lot of practices, so he just does online school, and even school is not as long as it was when we were kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like my kids have Fridays off.
Yeah.
I would have loved that as a child.
Yeah.
So recently, like a month ago, I had my son start at Milk It, so at the store.
Oh
So oh
wow.
my God, it's beautiful because so I've broken him free from that routine of school, sleep, video games, which I felt was getting to be very toxic because there are still those times where he's just in the middle of the night screaming at the top of his lungs.
At the game.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
wow.
Or he's playing with his friends and then he's yelling at his friends.
Yeah.
And so I mean, all in good fun, I'm sure. But I mean, still, But now that he's working, he's learned all these skills, and he's continuing to learn all these skills because he's learning to work with a team. He's learning to be more social with people because he's worked the register like plenty
Wow.
times. So it's like a proud moment for me to see him working.
That's
And
powerful, and it's
yeah,
powerful because
yeah,
you are able to put him in that position
yeah,
to come work, with mom,
right,
at work, and you teaching him responsibility.
yes,
You know what I mean? Teaching him about working and getting an income.
right,
Receiving an income for your work, like
right,
labor, wages, and so forth, like that.
right.
So then you can have those conversations about saving money.
Oh,
Because did you ever read that book, The Richest Man in Babylon?
no, I
Man,
didn't.
see that book is phenomenal. I always tell people about that
All right,
book
I'll add it
because
to my list.
yeah, because it teaches you so much about how your money works for you instead of you working for your money. Because
Right,
once you worked for your money,
right,
it's like, why are you still and continuously working for your money? Why are you not having your money work for you? Like what you're doing now, you're doing investments and things like
mm-hmm.
that. But it's like we don't really we work for our money, but then we give our money right back. We
Mm-hmm.
go buy the clothes and the shoes and the bags and the coats and the entertainment and stuff like that to occupy our time. But yet you will have more time to enjoy life, enjoy your family, if you would actually quit giving the money back that you're working hard for.
Right. Right. Well, okay. So I'm gonna tell you that I spent a lot of time talking to my son about savings,
Mm-hmm.
and that whole everything that you just talked about because I he he wanted to spend his money right away at first. So we talked about how saving is important, and how you can just tuck money aside,
Mm-hmm.
and set a certain goal aside, so that way you have a certain dollar amount for something that you really want to spend your money on. And so we did the math, and if he saves a certain amount each, so pretty much 250 every single paycheck,
Mm-hmm.
he'll save $500 a month, and then by the time he turns 18, he'll have $25,000 at minimum to be able to save, or to be able to put into a down payment on his first house. And so
Wow.
and he's been so good with it so far, and he's like, okay, mom, okay, I can do that, and so if he wants to spend more money on things that, other things, he knows he just has to work more hours, and put in a little bit more time, and I was so proud of him, when he said that, he was okay with that plan. I'm like, okay, right,
Yeah.
you're down for it with saving $500 a month, because if he sticks to it, if he does put in, all that effort, and really sticks to the $500 a month, and in fact, actually, as he gets older, he'll be able to put in more hours and save more.
Right.
Um, I'll match him on that down payment,
Yeah.
just to celebrate his
Right.
accomplishments, because I'm actually really excited for my kids to just be, yeah, I want them to be successful,
Yeah.
and so I'm trying to figure out what I can do now, and this is, I mean, for years I've been thinking about what can I do now, to help set them up, for the future, so there's all kinds of different things that I've done, that I think will help them,
Yeah.
and because I have seen where people have like used their kids' socials, to get the light bill turned back on and things like that. And now they're grown and, or becoming an adult and they can't get anything because their credit's already bad because
Yeah.
of their parents. And so I'm like, I'm gonna do the opposite.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things you can do. Like earlier in the year, I added my kids to a lot of my credit cards.
Mm-hmm.
So I have tons of credit cards in their names.
Yeah.
I'm just tucked them all aside. On because I have great credit.
Yeah.
So they can just tag on and and use my credit. And
Yeah.
because one of the things that on your credit score that it looks at is like your duration of how long you've had credit.
Wow.
And so for a while I was like, that's not fair that you're dinging me on this part, and I'm only at this age, and
Yeah.
like you're giving me a B,
Yeah.
and so um, when I discovered that, I'm like, I'm gonna set my kids
Start
up
them off early with
early,
that.
so that way that in this section or this area of your credit report, it won't be a problem because you've had credit since you were 12.
See, and that's how powerful these type of things could be. Like, you don't know what you don't know,
Yeah.
and you pay for what you don't know.
Yeah.
So for you to be informed now from your lifestyle, for you to be able to actually implement these things, to your children, so you can give them a jump start off at life, so they don't have to start from ground zero and not knowing. So to me, this goes back into the conversation of um, be not deceived, for bad company corrupts good morals when it comes to your friends and your circle. Because someone who has you as a friend, if they have the ability to have an open conversation with you about conversations like this, like I would have never known about, you doing this with your children when it comes to their um, credit, or helping them that way, or your son working now and you helping them to understand how to deal with money. Someone else might can use that for their own children from having a friend like you and so forth. So I think it's very powerful, because even as us being adults, it's like your circle of friends is so powerful, because everybody don't have someone who they can talk to and have open conversations with, because they feel like some of their friends might be like, hey, I ain't trying to hear all that. You know what I mean? They might be feel like you're judging them. You can't. And to me, it seems to be different. Like, I don't want no friends in my life that I can't have an open conversation with, and they can't talk to me and grab me by my coattail. And that can be hard sometimes, because depending on how you was raised and how you was brought up, it's not easy having these conversations with people, because you can get offended.
Right. That's very true. But at the same time, even, I mean, people aren't perfect, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people can change. So sometimes you have a friend that's a little bit more difficult, that isn't, as receptive, or isn't as they don't pour into you as much as you pour into them. But sometimes, it takes a person like you to be able to help them change, to for them to identify the things that are missing in their lives, or the things that they need to improve to be able to change. So don't be quick to dismiss people because they're not pouring into you the same way. I think it's actually important.
That is important. And what you just said, that part right there, because we do all offer something different.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So don't overlook a person's strengths. You know what I mean? In comparison to your own strengths, or what you feel like is more valuable.
Right. Because you can learn from everyone.
Right.
Just like you can learn from every you should be learning from every mistake. You should, because I mean, life isn't perfect, and
Right.
you shouldn't want life to be perfect. I don't want life to be perfect. I mean, as much as I hate when I have to deal with problems, I love being able to overcome them. I love being able to celebrate that. I love to celebrate.
You know what's wild about that? Because like, it's good to have that perspective.
Yeah.
And it's good to have another perspective on top of that.
Yeah.
So, because like my grandfather used to always tell me that only a fool learns from his own mistakes. A wise man learns from others.
Yes.
And
that's better. That is better for sure.
But he said that you're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Then my uncle would say, just don't make the big ones. You know what I mean? Because some mistakes are going to cost you.
Yes.
You can't come back from. But when it comes to these mistakes, though, it's like you do learn from these things. But it reminded me of, I listened to the Kobe Bryant Black Mamba. And he was doing this interview, And he said the same thing you just said, and I don't think you even watched it before. But that's how you can tell when somebody's in a certain lane, a certain zone, based off of what they have overcome. Because he said the same thing, that he loves when he goes through some type of turmoil, you know what I mean, or issue, because now it gives him some type of he loves challenges. So he loves to overcome things. So he gets into a situation, but like, okay, he said like he missed a shot one time, like in a game, and he said he took the same shot 200 times, like in the gym, like he was just shooting, because he wanted to figure out what he was comfortable with doing and what he wasn't comfortable with doing what he could do in certain situations. He didn't want to be surprised by it, by not attacking whatever he faced that he failed at. So like the John Maxwell book says, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. And then it says sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. Cause it's not a losing, it's a learning lesson. And sometimes we are afraid to fail, but you can learn from these failures. Right. You know what I mean?
You grow from failure.
Yeah, so I don't want people to get it confused when I say that, like when my grandfather told me only a fool learns from his own mistakes. He's just saying you don't have to go through everything in life because someone else has already been through it. Right. You see what your friend went through, right, and you came behind them and did the same thing. Right. Like that don't make no sense. You see what your parents went through and these conditions. Yeah. Why are you doing the same thing that was done before you that did not work? Right. So don't go through the same thing. If you can learn from somebody else's mistake, just be more attentive, be aware of what's going on. But at the same time, the perspective that you just gave tonight was also use these failures as a something to propel you to grow from.
Absolutely. I mean, I think every big failure in my life, I have grown from, and I appreciate. There's nothing in my life that has happened or that I've gone through that I regret or wish would be different. Because and I've gone through a lot of things in my life. A lot of people think that my whole I walked down a red carpet all my life. And that it was just Skittles and rainbows, and it really wasn't. And I just I don't always share all the bad things that have happened in my life, but I've gotten through everything, and it's easy. It gets easier and easier, when the more that you overcome, because you've been there before in another way, and so it's easier to move forward
and build strength.
Yeah, it builds strength, it
resilience,
builds confidence,
yeah,
and, all of that. So I wouldn't wish a life of perfectness. I just because I love the challenge, but I don't love drama. That's not what I'm saying. Like I'm like I want drama in my life. That I don't want. Yeah. It's just I love strategizing. Like I love strategy games. Yeah. I love. I used to put myself to sleep every night by playing Sudoku.
Yeah.
I used to play that every single night.
Because it was boring. I'm just playing.
No, because I would challenge myself.
Right,
like,
right.
Okay, I'm gonna do it faster this time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do the hard level, and I would do it faster than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I just every single time that was like my goal. I love challenging myself.
Yeah. I understand that. That's good.
But going back to the friend thing, I have friends that we challenge each other.
Right.
Like we just did in September, we did a step challenge. And so we loaded this app like My Walk or something like that, and we all loaded it, and we loaded every day when we did our workouts, we recorded our steps. I got number 1. It wasn't supposed to be a challenge; it was supposed to be a friendly thing, but I just wanted to say.
You wanted to put it out there that you got number 1.
Yeah.
So you're competitive.
I am very competitive. Even if it's not a competitive thing, I will compete against myself or make it a challenge. Like even when I'm at work doing regular things, I'm like, okay, it took me an hour last time. I don't have that kind of time, so I'm gonna try to do it in 30 minutes. And then go, and I just, so I challenge myself, because I want to be able to do things quicker and more efficient. So that way, efficiency is very important.
And when you say that, because sometimes people think quicker is just doing it faster.
No.
But I learned that smarter or being smooth at something, smooth is fast.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So, or being efficient.
Yeah. Resourceful.
Being resourceful.
Like when I'm always down to learn a new life hack. So if you have life hacks to share, send them to me because I love life hacks. Like this Apple Watch, this is a life hack. It is a life hack. I'm so glad it was brought into my life. Same thing with the AirPod. Oh my God, life has changed.
So you gonna plug Apple right now?
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't. Me too.
Like this ain't Samsung gang
Oh
over here.
God. Okay, let's not argue on camera. Okay.
Okay.
We can fight later. We have these fights often, but you
Because
know.
everybody know I'm all about the Samsung gang. So
I know you are.
you know, Android versus iPhone.
I mean, when you say "Hey Google," that is better than Siri. I can tell you that, and we've had these conversations because Siri doesn't listen. She doesn't listen, and she gives the lazy answer. She gives the lazy answer. Yeah. Whereas when you say "Hey Google," it's just so intuitive. It'll give you like, here are all the options. Mm-hmm. You know, like you ask for a flight. You know, what's it? We had asked like, what is the weather like in Miami in June? And then Siri will say, I don't know, it's too far ahead. And then Google will be like, it's normally between 70 and 72 degrees. The flights during that time are blah, 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 blah. Would you like to set up a flight?
Yeah. This is a little perk that, you know, Samsung got, you know what I mean?
Okay,
so we talk about efficiency, you know. But I'm always big, y'all, on just, you know, talking noise about people who use iPhone. So I just want to throw that in there. But anyway, I'm glad we was able to have this conversation to talk about just how things influence, you know, how you feel about things. Because I see you doing so many great things here in Denver, Colorado. And I'm not from Denver, Colorado, so it was a blessing to meet someone like Loanne. Just to be able to see how you move throughout your day. I don't have any children. She has children, so to see how someone can be so consistent and so disciplined in her approach towards life, to stay so positive, and the impact that friends might have in your life. So I want to appreciate you for coming on today, having this conversation with me.
Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
Yes. So my name is Detir. This is the lovely Loanne, and welcome to The Conversation.
Please like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to turn on your post notification button.